I think this movie sacrificed more style points and imagery than it did actually making a good, coherent story and plot for the film. You know what I'm saying? Which is very ironic.
So the new movie Him just came out, and we've been anticipating this for quite some time now.
Hell yeah, man.
I want to just get right into it. What did you think about this film?
Oh, man. This movie, bro, I was really looking forward to when the trailers that came out.
Wait, can I just say this real quick? Was it what you expected?
Hell no.
Okay, me neither. Go ahead.
This movie was not what I expected at all. I was expecting it to be way better.
Yeah.
The movie just felt very bloated and complicated, if you know what I mean, bro.
I get what you mean.
There was so much in this movie, but it also felt like it was missing at the same time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, there was so much going on, but I was like, this movie's missing something to tie everything together. And I don't know if it was maybe like editing problems or scheduling problems or whatever it was that made this movie not feel right.
Yeah.
But it just feels like there's something that was missing from this movie that would have tied it all
that would
together.
have made it that hit that it seemed like it was going to be. I feel what you're saying, bro. I mean, you know what's so crazy to me is that at some points in the movie, I felt like certain scenes kind of dragged on a little too long.
Hell yeah.
I felt also like the movie was a little slow. But you know what I think about this now that I've watched it? I said if they would have just, and I was telling my brother this, if they would have just portrayed it in the trailers how the movie actually really is, I think this movie would have banged. And I'm going to say why. In the trailers, you're kind of thinking more so like, oh, so this is going to be like real horror with it.
Yeah.
Right? But this movie, when I watched it and I got out, I was telling my girl, I was like, this is more so a psychological thriller. This isn't really a horror film. You know, kind of like how, I think this is almost how people felt with Weapons as well. When you first watch Weapons, the trailer, you're thinking that this is going to be a freaking full-blown horror film. You know, because, like, you know, you're seeing clips of, like, Gladys and all this other stuff. And I was like, okay, this is going to be scary as shit. But then you go in there and you're like, okay, this is more of, like, a psychological thriller. And with this movie, man, I just felt like that was one of the things that threw a lot of people off was what they expected versus what they got.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the movie, like you said, it was very slow in the beginning for sure.
Yeah.
And another, like, I mean, maybe it's just me personally, bro, but I feel like a lot of the acting fell flat for the main guys. To be honest with you, for me personally, like
for Marlon Wayans and Bruh?
For Marlon Wayans and Bruh, to be honest with you. Not
really?
Like, this is what I mean. Like the main dude, what was his name in the movie? I think it was like Caden Cameron or something like that. I don't remember the guy's name, but I just think like a lot of the times, and they even said in the movie, one of the characters guessed, like he said, like, sit your creative character ass down or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of what he felt like to me. Like, he's just this plain-faced, like, sub-in of a character, if you know what I mean. Like, he's just a typical football guy who's just in this movie, but, like, he doesn't really show a lot of emotion for me for a lot of the movie. Well, and there are parts where he's talking about his dad and all that stuff, and he's like, he does show emotion, but for the most part, he's like, things are kind of just happening around him, and he's kind of just, like, not doing anything about it. Which, like, it made the character feel weird because in the beginning, when he's first having the interview, and he's talking about being a family man, being a God man, all this stuff. All this stuff that's happening to him at the training camp, he's just letting things happen to him. And he's like, he's not standing on his own beliefs. You know what I mean? He's letting just all this stuff just happen to him throughout the film.
Yeah. Well, you know what's so crazy? I think I would disagree, bro. I'm going to be honest. That was one part about the film I felt personally like kind of kept me in a little bit. I thought the acting was pretty good. I thought it was decent. Marlon Wayans, I felt like this was one of his projects that I was like, okay, yeah, this is actually him being serious again. And, you know, there's a couple of Marlon Wayans scenes where he did the little boop. You know,
some of those, I'm gonna lie, sometimes they took me out.
You know? No, I'm already knowing.
It gave me scary movie vibes.
No, I'm already knowing. But, you know, he definitely had his Marlon Wayans moments in general. But there was some scenes I was like, okay, if you are a football fan, this was cool.
No, for sure.
Like, this was intense in certain scenes where I'd be like, okay, this is like real, like, sport movie type of vibe. And, you know, there's certain things. But even how you just said, I think that they went about it that way because they were probably thinking, okay, how would you act or most people would act if the person that they've been idolizing for so long is not what they seem to be from all these things. So then it's like you're almost in awe of like, is he really doing this? Or is this really happening? You know, and we'll get into some of the scenes at the end, but just certain things that were happening around them when they were doing some of the training camp. And he would see certain weird things or notice certain things around him that he might not have agreed with or thought was uncomfortable or whatever. I think he was just like, okay, well, I don't really understand this because I don't know how his training goes.
Yeah, I get
so
that.
So I'm just going to go along with whatever so I can become him.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, so it's almost like, and even in the beginning, he was telling him about like, doing whatever it takes. So I think in another sense, he probably would have had more of a firm stance on things. But when it came to him being at his training camp, his mind was a little bit skewed because
he had to do what he had to do to become the next guy or whatever.
Yeah.
I do get that, but I'm just like, there's a lot of times where like, the dude just coming around just like sticking him with stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like he doesn't even ask like, what the hell are you putting in me? You know
I get what
like,
you're saying. Yeah.
There are those scenes where I'm like, what the hell was he sticking him with? You know what I'm saying? Because, and this is getting a little spoiler, I guess, but like when he was sticking him with that needle, throughout the whole movie, I thought that was Marlon Wayne's blood that he was sticking him with.
Isn't it?
But that's the thing. I don't know if it is because at the end,
because even on the blood bag it said his name.
I know. But like when he's getting injected at the end of the movie, where the entire blood bag is going inside of him. Yeah. The thing he reaches for is that injection that the dude was sticking him with, and he injects himself with it, and it brings him kind of like back to normal look. Yeah. And even when he first gets injected by that, the trainer is telling him like, some people, some religions will like praise that blood or whatever. Yeah. It says something like along those lines. Yeah. And when he first said that, I thought he was talking about Marlon Wayne's blood because it's like some demonic stuff or whatever. Yeah. But then throughout the movie, the guy is telling him like, you're going to thank me for this. Yeah. So I'm thinking like, was that like the blood of Christ he was sticking him with? And it was kind of like, it was kind of counteracting against the blood that Marlon Wayne was giving him and stuff, you know what I mean? Because it's that could make sense. If it was Marlon Wayne's blood,
why would he reach for Marlon Wayne's blood?
And then why would it bring him back to normal if he's already getting a whole bag of it into his body? You know what I'm saying? But that's the one thing that this movie kind of like, I kind of didn't like. And I don't like when movies over explain stuff. Yeah. But it's like,
when you don't explain anything at all.
Give me something.
Okay, I was going to say.
You know what I'm saying?
One thing that really bothered me about this movie, if I'm going to be honest, was I feel like there was just a lack of explanation altogether when it came to the movie Him. I looked at it and I was just like, okay, so you guys didn't really explain the end. It just kind of ends. We don't even see if he goes back home to his family. We don't even know if he ever tells his family what happened. Does he go to jail? And I think that was one of the things that they probably stumbled into when they were writing it, was like, crap, he murdered a whole bunch of people. Yeah, for sure, yeah. Like, what is his life going to be now? Is he still going to get to go pro? Is he still going to get to be this? Like, so it was a very strange thing, and they didn't even explain what even happened. Like, what force was the thing that even, and these are all spoilers, what was the thing that even had that guy who was one of the, Illuminati men? His manager, I think. Okay, one of the guys that were basically in the Illuminati. What had bro that was like, I'm like, is that the devil?
I'm assuming it was like the devil or something like that, because he's like, he was saying like, please don't do it, bro. Like, I'm sorry. And he was saying like, he'll suck his dick or whatever the fuck, right? Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that like that was some type of devil or demon or something. I thought they were gonna show it.
Me too.
I thought they were gonna show it coming out the tunnel.
Me too.
But I'm kind of upset that they
didn't
show it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I didn't really get. I'm like, okay, so what was that thing? Yeah. That they were all working for, pretty much. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't explain that at all. And then, like, our original theory when we posted it online was the Marlon Wayans was the devil. Yeah. Or his character was going to be the devil and everything, you know what I mean? But he was just a long line of dudes who took over each other's body or something like that. You know what I mean? Because he had all his old, like, my mentor and mentor before him. Yeah. He's like, we all shared the same blood. Yeah. Which I'm assuming is the devil's blood. Yeah. That's what I'm assuming, bro.
I think that's where it started from.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then, but then he says things like, like, I played for God. Yeah. Which could be another, Lucifer was an angel at one point. Yeah. Got sent down to hell and everything. So it could be that's what he's referring to. Yeah. Back when he was Lucifer, that he played for God at one point.
No, I get what you're saying. That's very interesting, because even the order that he said to the kid, where he was like, he's like, what is the order for you? Because he's like, you hear how a lot of athletes say
God, family,
football, or and then he said his was football, family, God, and that just kind of blew my mind a little bit. I was just like, okay, I like that they added that element where they're trying to show more so this, I don't want to say demonic, like, situation, but he just had a lot of, they were showing the evil through that, that phrase, you know what I mean? Because it just shows his priority. And I think that just added to his character of how he was saying, I'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And, you know, even when he was telling that the kid, I think, and this is what's so interesting that my girl said, I don't know if you thought this as well, the scene where they're both in the sauna and he goes, he was like, you know, his name is Cam. He was like, you're a good kid, Cam. He was like, you should try to do it your way.
Yeah, don't do it my way.
Don't do it my way. Don't try to be me. And my girl was like, what if in that split moment, it was actually who he used to be that was talking?
Like the real Isaiah White.
Yeah, before he started taking all the stuff, whatever. Because you started even seeing Cameron change throughout the film a little bit where his personality changes, like when he cracks bro in the head and stuff. That's something that he probably wouldn't have done before. Yeah. And it was also the blood that he was getting was trying to, you know, pumping him into this other thing. And even how Marlon Wayans explained it, like, he's like, yeah, like, you know, you really got that shit in you, huh? That shit's making you feel different. I think that when he was speaking, he was in this state of relaxation. And, you know, maybe he didn't have too much of it. Because even if you notice, he would always say, randomly at night, he'd be like, yeah, I'm about to go watch film.
Yeah, he would always say that before the shit popped off for Cam.
Yeah. So I'm thinking at that moment, he was probably normal again, or, you know, kind of normal, and he had like this bits of and pieces of himself, and those were real moments.
Yeah.
And then the next day he would sit there and be like, did you fuck her?
Yeah.
He's back to this, like, and it would always be during the training days. He was super to the next level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you're saying.
I don't know. It's almost interesting of like, because he even used this example of, I don't know if he said, the way the Native Americans used to believe, but it was saying something about like it's almost like they would pass on spirit of their chief before them or something like that through blood and all these other things. I'm thinking, is that the same thing that was going on with him?
I think it is something like that. You know what I mean? And like the thing when he was talking about, you know, God, family, football, or football, family, God. Yeah. Like I think that should, like I said earlier, that should have been a moment where Cam was like, nah, bro, like, you got it flipped around. You know what I mean? That's why I was kind of like, it's such a weird thing that like he didn't stand on his beliefs enough. Yeah. And then out of nowhere at the end, it's like it kind of just like clicks for him. You know what I'm saying? But it's like it kind of took you a little bit too long to realize something like that. And then even then, it's like he should have at some point in the movie said it back to him like, no, it is God, family, football, or whatever.
That would have been a good
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Instead of him saying like, I mean, it was like a callback to when he said, like, you know, what's the difference between, like, the mascot or whatever, you know, because Marlon Wayans said that to him when he first, you know, comes to the camp and everything, when he said, like, you know, don't become a mascot. Yeah. You know what I mean? But, like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, the movie had they were building up on so much, like, different plot points and, you know, different characters and stuff like that I feel like a lot of stuff didn't get resolved. And they were just throwing a lot of stuff in our faces that kind of either got resolved in a weird way or not at all. You know what I'm saying? Like Julia Fox's character, I think, should have had that much of a big role to me. You know what I mean? Like, and even the way she like died. She died was so like
stupid. It was so
that scary movie. That's some scary movie type shit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
she fell on the knife.
And then she like, you know, she stabbed her own throat. It's
that was so weird.
And then like, cause I get her character was supposed to be that temptation of bringing him into the Illuminati world or whatever. But it's like, I felt like the same way that Marlon Wayans was trying to like get his blood into bruh, Julia Fox should have been doing that with her little intern or whatever the fuck that girl that was like following him around. Yeah. Because she's even the one that told Cam, like, you know, I'm a big fan. Yep. And then that scene where they're like dancing with each other, like she's the main one that was kind of all up on him. Yeah. So I feel like that final scene shouldn't have been Julia Fox. It should have been that girl. Yeah. Where like she's also going through the same trials that Cam was going through. Yep. You know what I mean? Which I think that would have been a better thing. But overall, bro, I think that the movie fell flat because the advertisement advertised this as this Jordan Peele movie.
That was another one too. Yeah,
I think that's the reason why the movie really failed, because people online were like, the new Jordan Peele movie, the new Jordan Peele movie. Yeah, people are like, I'm gonna go watch that new Jordan Peele movie. Even like some of my friends in real life are like, you gonna go watch that new Jordan Peele movie, bro? Yep. And I was reminding them like, it's not a Jordan Peele movie. He's producing the movie. It's through his company, but he's not the one who's making the movie or directing it. You know what I'm saying? And even the advertisement, there's like, you know, they're interviewing. I don't think I've seen a single interview with the actual director.
With the actual director, it's Jordan Peele and Marlon Wayans and bro. Yeah,
I'm like, what the hell? And people are asking the stars of the movie, you know, questions about Jordan Peele and questions about his movies and stuff like that. And it's like, I mean, obviously, like, producers do have big roles in the movie or whatever, but it's like, he's not the director though.
Yeah, they propped him up as if he was the head runner.
And even like, like posters of the movie says like a
Jordan Peele film or whatever.
It's and then it says in tiny words, produced.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I think that threw people off. And I see why they did it because, Jordan Peele's a big name.
Yeah.
And they thought it was going to be like, oh, people are going to go and watch this because it's a Jordan Peele movie. And then the titles share similar titles to Jordan Peele's other movies. Yeah. So people just automatically assume it's part of that same world. But I think people are going into this thinking it's going to be a Get Out. It's going to be a Us. It's going to be a Nope type of movie.
Yeah.
But it's not, though. And I think that's what people kind of like seeing that it was like, man.
Definitely, I think that turned a lot of people off because even when my brother told me that it wasn't directed by Jordan Peele, I was just like, what? I was like, why the fuck for the longest time? I said, so wait, why for like the last year we've all been anticipating that this was made by Jordan Peele?
Yes.
Am I bugging?
It was on purpose.
All not, you know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, like they even titled it just him to make it like it's Us or Nope or Get Out, like these very short titles. So I was like, wait a minute, so it's not? And then, but my opinion is, I think if the movie would have been good, nobody would have given a fuck.
At all.
But I think it was just that it had its moments of it could have been good.
For sure.
And then it started to lack in other aspects, like how you just said, when old girl fell on the knife and just some of the other aspects I was kind of like, okay, this isn't really explained or, they didn't like. And that was my biggest problem is the lack of explanation because I can see why, in certain movies, like in a psychological thriller, it's cool to kind of leave certain things ambiguous or kind of leave a little bit of mystery in a story. But my nigga, when the whole story's mystery, it's just like I don't know what's going on. Like I didn't understand why he was having all these like real fever dreams, and it's like I guess it's because the blood maybe.
Yeah, we're summoning the real though.
Yeah, it's like this like mascot thing is like with that cowboy hat is like right in front of him and stuff. And I was like, I feel like that was just a style choice that they were like, oh, this will look super crazy.
That's what I think. Yeah,
and they were doing a lot of that more so it having real significance. And I think it was kind of the same of how people felt in Weapons when like Gladys was on the ceiling and stuff and all that other stuff in that girl's dream. And it was kind of like, why would she dream about her though?
You know what I mean?
It was just kind of random.
And I mean, it's funny that this movie was talking about sacrifice and all this stuff. I think this movie sacrificed more style points and imagery than it did actually making a good coherent story and plot for the film. You know what I'm saying? Which is very ironic that the movie talked about sacrifice, but they sacrificed their movie by trying to have these cool images of, what I mean, him looking at the rings or like the mascots or them at the party turning up and stuff like that, where it's like, none of this really makes sense in the grand scheme of things. You know what I mean? And
for the story.
One of like the biggest like middle fingers to me was the thing that hits him in the beginning to start his whole journey. Yeah. I thought at the end it was gonna come back and they were gonna reveal who it was. Yeah. And it was gonna be this crazy like, oh my god,
plot twist
it was
or something.
him in the end. I think it was revealed it to be like the trainer guy who was stretching him or something like that. I think that's what it ended up being. But I'm gonna lie, it should have been his dad.
It should have. That would have been insane.
Because he even said, like, we've been grooming you since you were a kid. Like, your dad has been working with us since you were a kid.
That would have hit.
To groom you up to be this thing. And it would have hit so hard if he would have took the mask off and it was his dad the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that would have made the movie hit way more. And it would have gave him a reason to even go lash out and then kill them all.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it kind of, and even though that scene was cool, he was running around throwing the fucking sword like a football and stabbing them all. Like that scene was dope. Yeah, it was dope as hell. And even like the gore in that scene was really cool. He's like breaking their arms and all this shit like that. You know me, bro. Like I thought that shit was tight. Yeah, but it just felt so out of place.
It definitely
did. Like it felt very rushed towards the end. Like I felt like they were building up to this thing, and then they're like, oh shit, we gotta throw in the we gotta hurry up and get to the ending already. So it's like, all right, let's have the fight. Even the fight with him and Marlon Wayans felt very out of place and weird. Where it's like the camera was all shaky and all this shit. And like you can't really see what's going on. And then he kind of defeats him in some weird way where he says some corny ass line and hits him with a helmet. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Even at the end where he's like I said, bro, he should have said at the end like God, family, football. Yeah. But instead he says to his manager like, no guts, no glory. And then like he like blows up in the background or some shit. And it's like, and then even when like he made the fucking the band guy flinch or something like that. It was like
it just felt so random, but it was like it wasn't like some of these choices weren't bad. I just think that if the movie was executed better, those choices would have felt more organic.
For sure.
For his character.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And I think if they would have went to the build up when he goes and massacres all of them at the end of the movie, it would have hit way harder of like, yes, like finally he got these guys. Yeah. But we don't spend enough time on seeing how evil these guys are. All he does is signs the contract with them, or he's at the that party or whatever, and they're trying to get him to sign.
And they chop off the trainer's head.
All that stuff. Yeah, it's like you kind of see that, and it's like, okay, yeah, they sacrificed him. That was a little bit weird. You don't really build too much of a connection with the trainer as well.
Yeah, so it's like it's not really much of a crazy. Yeah.
So it was like you don't really care about any of these characters besides him, to be honest. And I think even him, I think he was like a good character, me personally, but I don't think he was such a good character where it was like if he got his body snatched in that movie, I probably would have just not cared that much.
Yeah.
I would have just went out this theater like, damn, that was crazy. That was dark.
Yeah, they got him.
Actually, Marlon Wayans actually is him now.
Yeah.
So I would have thought.
Ironically, I think that would have made a better ending to the movie.
Me too. Yeah, if that would have been the end where Marlon Wayans was just prepping his body to take, and it's been a thing where for the centuries they've been doing that, because he even gave that whole backstory of like, and I thought it was pretty interesting.
The Native Americans
playing football with the white guys, and I thought that was pretty interesting. And it's like they had to pretty much change the game to be able to adapt, pretty much, or to have a fair shot. I think it's kind of a personification of him. Is like, well, now that I'm disadvantaged, I got to change the game.
Yeah.
I got to add this other element to the game where I will be able to keep doing it or, win again, and which would be him taking his body.
Yeah,
I think that would have been a better story point. But
hell yeah.
At the end of the day, I think this movie was, I think it was decent. I don't think it was as bad as people were saying online.
I don't think it's terrible, but I just think it was a big letdown. And I think the way they advertised the film was they kind of shot themselves in the leg.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's in the end what messed up the movie, to be honest with you, bro. Just the advertisement, like somehow the trailer is better than the movie. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so weird, bro. But overall, out of 10, what do you think you would rate this movie?
I'll give you a quick rating, bro. I'm going to go with 6.5.
On Calty, bro, I think you're being a little generous, bro. I'm gonna give this probably like a 5.
Really?
Maybe 4.5.
Really?
Like, there's just like
that's crazy.
There are some redeeming qualities in the movie for sure, bro. Yeah. But overall, bro, it's like there was just too much going on, bro. And it's like,
definitely.
They didn't explain enough for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just think, like I said, bro, they were just trying to be too cool with it. Yeah. They're showing all these crazy images.
That's facts.
And then in the end, it never builds up upon any of those images that he sees.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's for me, bro, I'm going to have to give this like a 4.5, maybe a 5. That's just me. That's just me personally. But let us know what you guys thought about the movie. If you guys seen it yet. Let us know if you guys agree with us, if you guys disagree with us. And like, comment, subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you guys on the next one.